everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a room tour. A lot's kind of changed in the space of a year, and if anyone has been a subscriber of the channel for sort of like the last 10 months to a year, you might remember that in this room there used to be a rack, and it had like five tanks on it. We had a bowl, we had this tank, then there was like a little fluval flex in the corner, and then yeah, everything has just completely changed. All the scapes have changed, and I've not really done like an update on the room to kind of show that for the channel. So yeah, this is going to be a kind of brief little tour of all the scapes in the room. And if you haven't seen like the old videos and you're interested in what like the rack used to look like, it's not MJ Aquascape and rack, not by any means, but yeah, like I'll link the video because yeah, there's been a big change, and I think, or I'm hoping that my scaping has improved. I think the turning point was kind of when I got back from Tropical Live in Denmark. It just, I don't know, I realised how much I actually loved the hobby and how much I kind of wanted to invest, not like financially, but just my time and my efforts and just passion overall into it. And I'm hoping that shows. I'm not saying that these are groundbreaking scapes by any means, but I think just even for me this is kind of just quite I don't know, cathartic, just to see how much it's changed and how much my skills have maybe changed. So yeah, this is kind of a video for me, I guess, as well, but yeah, hopefully you guys just can take something from it. Maybe you might find a scape that you like, or something that inspires you. Maybe you'd want to try something, or we'll go through some of the issues I've had. It might help you not make that same mistake. So yeah, please enjoy the video, and yeah, I'll end the intro there. So we'll start the video with a tank that's not been featured on the channel for quite a while. In fact, since it's been scaped, there's probably been one video about it, perhaps two, and it probably looks very different to the build video, and I'll overlay what it used to look like, but the foreground used to have sand. So up until recently it did, and then I decided that I wanted to take the sand out and replace it with some dwarf hairgrass and have a carpet, because I felt like as the scape was growing and the plants were kind of exploding over the rock barrier that was at the front, again I'll overlay some footage so you can see what I mean, it just didn't, I don't know, it didn't gel right. I just didn't think it blended properly, and I thought I'm just going to try a carpet, because when I initially scaped it I did think about it, but graded gravels is kind of my favourite. So I did it, and then I kind of got bored, so I thought I'm just going to change it up. And since changing it up, I kind of regretted it, because I've had a lot of problems. So carpet just isn't filling in as I would have liked. This is a high-tech tank, it does run CO2, but I think the issue I'm having is due to the light. So the light is just a twin star, I think it's a C series. It's not a particularly expensive one. I think this was about £115, and it's just not very wide. And the stems at the back, which we'll talk about in a minute, but they need some highlight, and obviously the hairgrass needs light to grow. So I think it's a lighting issue, and I really would like to get the Chihiros WRGB Vivid Pro, whatever it's called, because it is a wider unit. But they are quite pricey. I mean, not pricey compared to some lights, but yeah, that's just going to take some saving. So first issue is there isn't enough light on the hairgrass. The second thing I decided to do was change the background stems. So in the background we have got some Pygostemon erectus. Now, I used to just trim that and top it, and topping is where you basically just shove the trimmed stems back into the growth of the plant, which is good because it kind of makes it not look like it's had a trim, and you can kind of retain its look, if you like. It doesn't look as harsh after you've cut it. But the problem is that the stems start to then get leggy. They start to grow roots down into the substrate, and eventually you can kind of see through the plant. So I pulled all them out and sort of replanted the healthy tops from scratch. So this has just been growing for the past few weeks, just basically from nothing much bigger than 2 or 3 centimetres. So that's been growing up to the surface and that's been doing okay. The second plant I ripped out was the Rotala HR, and I've replaced it with some Rotala orange juice. HR is a plant I really struggle with and it just wasn't looking good. So I thought I'd change it and try orange juice. It's probably very similar to grow, but we'll give it a try. And then I had quite a big mass of Starigine repens down here, which again I ripped out and I have replaced with some Rotala bonsai, which is something I've never grown before. And since ripping all the established background stems out, I've now got algae, which you might be able to kind of see. It's like a green thread algae, and it's been pretty stubborn actually. It's not disappearing, and I think the reason for that is because when I added the when I took out the sand foreground and obviously added the hair grass, I had to put in some fresh aqua soil, which I think has probably caused a bit of ammonia spike. And I have been fiddling with the lighting intensity as well, just to get the plants to grow, with the hair grass being new, and obviously with the background stems kind of growing from scratch again. So yeah, I fiddled with this tank and now I have problems, but it's fine. It'll eventually kind of sort itself out. They tend to do that. You just got to be patient with it, keep up with maintenance and water changes. But I do think when it's going to be grown in fully, I think I am going to prefer it with the carpet. But let me know what you think. Did you prefer sand or a carpet? Equipment wise, as mentioned, it's a twin star light. Filter is just an Oase filter thermo 600, whatever you call it. Runs CO2. Inlet pipes are the Aquarium, with the CO2 is actually pumped in via a little tube that goes into the outlet. That's kind of Aquarium's thing. Works quite well. I used to have an inline diffuser and I actually found that I had more BBA doing it that way. That's kind of cleared up since using this. There is still little bits here and there, but nothing that I can't live with. I think just at the minute it's kind of just green thread algae, which I will take that over BBA any day. So yeah, that is the 60 centimetre nature aquarium. I guess they're all nature aquariums. The tank is from All Pond Solutions. I think it measures 60 by 45 by 40. I'll overlay the measurements because I'm not 100% sure. But it's about 96 litres. So it's the biggest tank that I've got and it's the only one that runs CO2. Stocking is a bit of a mix of things. We've got Harlequin raspberries, we've got the lamb chop style ones, and my favourite ones are the purple ones with the orange faces. They're purple raspberries. We've got some mountain minnows, which I think are a really underrated fish. Recently lost, I had 2 males and 2 females. Unfortunately both females have died. I lost the last one last week, but the males seem to be doing fine. We've got Ember Tetra, 1 rummy nose left. So I did have groups of various different ones, and these have been with me for most of them as long as I've started the hobby, so 3 years. And obviously as they've died, I've just not kind of replaced them, because I kind of, when I started, just did that thing that maybe everyone does where they're just like, I just want all the different types of fish. And now in hindsight, I wish I'd just got like a few big groups of one species rather than mixing lots of little species together. That's absolutely fine if you do that, but I just think you get the best behaviours out of fish when they're kind of in the big groups with their own kind. I did close down a tank that had some killifish in, so you might have seen some killifish in here. I was a bit worried about how well they do in here, but they seem absolutely fine. In fact, they're breeding, but I'm not sure if the babies will survive. I have had loads of babies from these. They're very easy fish to breed, but now that they're in here with tetras and some rosy tips, which are a bit bigger, can be feisty-ish if they want to. So they'd probably pick them off. We've got clean-up crew of ottos, and then we've got some cories, some stir-bys, and some peppers. But you don't really see them too much. And there is some coolie loaches in here, which I never ever see. But yeah, that's about it for stocking. But yeah, those purple harlequins are definitely my favourite. So next we'll move on to this tank. This tank has recently been featured on the channel about 2 videos ago, and this is my no CO2 nature aquarium. This is an ADA 45p, and I will leave a link to that video because it's quite a deep dive on this scape. So I won't go too much into this tank because the majority of the information's there and you may have already seen it. So this scape's recently had a trim about 4 days ago. I've tried to keep this video as real, I guess. Nothing's been maintained before the video, this is just kind of as is. Because realistically my tanks are only ever at peak like a week out of a month, and then they need trimmed or there's algae or something, so this is just kind of how they are. But yeah, since the video this is probably looking a little bit rough because I've trimmed all the Ludwigia palustris and all the Caroliniana in the background there. So it's again not looking its best, but this is how it is. It's not perfect all the time. But yeah, this scape is about maybe between 8 and 10 months old now. It pretty much does just maintain itself. It is pretty trouble free. The only issues I've ever really had with this scape, and it is still kind of present now, if we can kind of see it, is in the carpet there is some algae, which I always thought was cladophora algae, and I'm not sure what it is, but unless you get really close you can barely see it. So again, it's something I can live with, so I'm not gonna sort of spend my time panicking over it and focusing on it. It is what it is. On my Instagram, if anybody follows me, my bio says something along the lines of, don't be fooled by Instagram, there's algae in every one of my tanks, and there is. It's not something that I'll pretend that there isn't and that they're perfect all the time, because they're not. But yeah, most tanks will have algae. If anyone tells you they don't, they're either amazing or lying, so but yeah, this is home to a betta fish, and tech again, just a quick rundown, but it is mentioned in the other video. The lights and ONF, the inlet and outlet pipes again are the Aquarios, and the filtration is an Oase. So all the tanks pretty much run Oase filters. I just kind of like the idea that they've got the built-in heater, to be honest. That's like the biggest selling point for me. Moving on to this scape though next. So this has only recently been done, about maybe 2 months ago. I'll link the build video to it because it's on the channel. Again, this is just a no CO2 cube, a little island scape with talawa wood coming out the top. And the amount of times I nearly poke my eye out on it, it's not even funny. So yeah, this is doing quite well actually. I chose a plant, which is Myriophyllum matogrossense. I've never grown it before. It's classed as a medium category plant, I think, but it's doing quite well, so that's good. I'm still not sure on the Anubias at the front. I think it's too big and I think it ruins the scale, and I have been meaning to change it to some mini coin, but I'm yet to do that. This tank currently doesn't have any fish in it. I'm debating just having it as like a cold water tank, but I'm not too sure on sort of cold water or ambient water, should I say, species of fish. So if anyone's got any suggestions that would look nice in this scape, please leave it in the comments. I'd I'd be really interested to know, because I don't really have any kind of knowledge on that, so that would be greatly appreciated. The filter, well, it's not filter actually, this is an ADA Vupper skimmer, and I was hoping that it would be good enough to use as a filter in a 30 centimetre cube, given its nano size, but it doesn't really work. Oh yeah, this is just kind of been cycling, and it is ready for some fish. I do need some fish in it because I don't find myself looking at it very much. The tank's quite boring without fish. The fern in the middle needs to grow a lot more. I only had a small portion. I really want that to fill out, and obviously I want the moss to kind of grow up the twigs, and I do want to introduce some more moss into the foreground as well and just make it a real sort of green, naturey style scape. And then moving on to these two scapes, these have both recently been featured on the channel as well. I did another deep dive on the scape to the left because this is another 45p no CO2 tank, and the one on the right has just recently been scaped. So I'll leave links in the description or somewhere on the screen for you to check them out. So again, I'll be fairly brief with these ones as there has been information about these on the channel already. And yeah, so this one again, ADA 45p. This is home to a better fish. This is Anubias, who has obviously seen something. Hello. And again, just like everything else, it runs on ONF Nano. It uses the Aquarium filter inlet and outlet, and this cupboard is a disgrace, but there is a filter in there somewhere amongst the mess, and it's an Oase Filter Smart Thermo 100. Again, it's nice to keep the tank clean. This has been running for just shy of a year now, and again, it's kind of been set up long enough that it pretty much does just maintain itself. It took a while for me to be happy with this scape, but it's finally getting there. I think I made a lot of wrong plant choices initially with this tank. The Hardscape is very chunky, it takes up the majority of the tank, and it was kind of hard finding plants to kind of utilise in that space, but I don't know, I think I've kind of got there. There's definitely room for improvement, but yeah, I'm happy, so I can live with it. Have had some die off on the Montividensis in the back, and as you can see, the Alternantha Reniki, it looks red, but it's very leggy, it's very long. It's probably not enough light getting to it. That's kind of the only, not issue or drawback with the light, but it doesn't, given the tank's 45 centimetres, it obviously cuts off here, and it's not particularly wide either, so some of the plants don't get as much light as I'd like, but I just think the colour rendition's really nice, and they're very non-invasive and minimal. They give a nice clean look, so I will leave a link for more information on this scape. There is also some red shrimp in here and 2 Otocinclus. Oh, there's the other one for the cleanup crew. The wood is ironwood, which I think is definitely my favourite wood. It just seems to stay really clean. Definitely would like to use that again in a scape. And it's pretty much all the middle is just made up of various epiphytes, all different types of Anubias and Booths, and then the back is just crypts and some Montividensis, and obviously that Alternanthera. The front coming down to smaller species of epiphyte like Anubias minicoin. Then the foreground we've got Crypt Parva and some hairgrass. Some of it's not looking great, a little bit yellow. I don't really dose many of my low-tech aquariums, sorry, no CO2 aquariums, but it might be something I have to start considering now. 8 months is, well, 8 months to a year, the aquacel's probably been depleted of most of its nutrients, so it might be something I start doing, but it's kind of introducing it slowly and getting the balance right, because the last thing I want to do is cause a an algae outbreak. Adding fertiliser doesn't cause algae, but obviously the imbalance is kind of what can cause it. And then moving on to this scape. So this scape is very newly, this is my newest, actually no, my bowl is the newest. This is the second newest. So it's very recently been set up, so there's still quite a lot of growing in to do. And if anyone watched the build video, you might remember that I just wasn't sure if I was keen on it, but now it's grown on me. I think I do like it. So yeah, this is a kind of minimalistic, I don't know, contemporary, is that the right word to describe it, scape. Very minimal planting as well, so it's complete polar opposite to like the scape next to it. So when you see them side by side, it is quite a big difference, but I didn't know if I liked that at first, but now I think I do. Yeah, your eye kind of bounces between them and it's just a different level of interest. So yeah, I think I'm happy with it. Again, I will leave the build video in the description if I haven't said that already, but the idea for this was something that I'd seen on, I think it's Aquarium Design Group. Obviously I have not done it anywhere near as good as them, but I'd seen a scape on there that I really liked and that was the inspiration. So it's just some elderly boulder with some manzanita wood, making it kind of look like a fallen branch, if you like. I've kept the planting species to a minimum, as well as just the amount of plants in general to a minimum-ish. And the background is just mainly long grassy type species or mini ferns, like Liliopsis brasiliensis, Eliocharis acicularis. For a pop of colour I just added some albedo brown just to break it up a little bit. Just kind of waiting for this to grow in really. I don't know if the grass species that I've picked for the background are going to grow long enough, because ideally I want them to sort of come to the top of the waterline and kind of go down. But I don't know if acicularis will get that tall, so if it doesn't I might need to look at another option, but it's only been like a month, so we'll just kind of wait it out. Again, this is no CO2, so everything with no CO2 just takes longer. Just kind of got to be patient with it, which I feel like as aquascapers, a lot of us probably really struggle with patience. In the front is just Nubius bonsai and then mini coin, some kind of boost, which I'm not sure what it is, but I liked it, so I put it in, and then just graded out to some elderly boulder, Weo Eco elderly gravel, is it? And then just some ADA Colorado sand. So it's a very simple scape, but despite how it might look, I found it difficult to actually scape it. So yeah, sometimes simple doesn't always mean easy. So yeah, that is all my tanks. Actually, it isn't. There is one more and we will go find it because it's not in this room. So the last tank is the most recent scape and possibly the most recent video. Again, I will leave a link in the description. And this is the no filter, low tech bowl aquarium, which is actually doing really well. The water's cleared up. It was cloudy for ages. The only thing is that we've got some fungus growing on some wood here. I'll probably put some snails in and they will sort that out. This isn't going to be home to any fish. I personally probably wouldn't keep fish in a bowl. This is about a 25 litre bowl, so you maybe could get away with something like chili rasboras, but as this is not got a heater in it and it's in our kitchen, which is absolutely freezing, I'm not going to do that. So it's more just for, I don't know, decorative purposes. But yeah, nothing much has really changed because it's only been about a week, other than the water becoming more clear, which is a good thing. Because I was beginning to worry that it was just going to be permanently cloudy, but I think it was just down to the sand that I used. Around the back, the palustris that I planted, which was a trimming out of the ADA 45p aquarium, because I trimmed it and I thought I'd put the trimmings in there. And the Siamensis 53B, I'm sorry it's really hard to film a bowl. They've started to grow. So that's a good sign. So once they kind of appear in the background and start coming up around this bit, probably start looking quite nice. So yeah, that is all my scapes. And now all the lights have started to go off on the tank, so that seems like a really good place to end the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about any of the scapes, anything that you've seen, please just leave it in the comments and I'll do my best to answer. And like I said, if anybody has any recommendations for any cold water fish for my 30C cube, please leave a comment because I'm a bit stuck on what I want to put in there. Yeah, I think that will do. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, but you don't have to, but it's cool if you do. And yeah, I have got another video coming soon which is quite different. If you follow me on Instagram, I might have already given it away on Instagram. But yeah, stay tuned for that. And then there might be a lull in the videos for a week or two because I am going on holiday, and then I'll be back to recording some more videos. So yeah, thank you if you're a subscriber, thank you. It really means a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot guys. See you on the next one. Bye.